Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on CanadaOne TV. Good evening and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on CanadaOne TV. We're talking tonight with Kathy MacDonald, who is a trustee on the Peel Board of Education, the Peel District Board of Education. And I'm going to talk to her about a couple of different issues. I also obviously want to talk about COVID-19 and how schools are reopened and what she thinks is happening in that regard. And then I also want to talk about what's happening with race in Peel, because as you may know, the Peel Board of Education was effectively taken over. The Board of Trustees was displaced. The province came in and put a supervisor in place because they deemed that the Peel Board, not the structure, but the board itself was racist. So I want to understand all of this. So Kathy, welcome to my show. How are you?
Thank you. Well, I'm busy.
I can well imagine. So tell me, what do you think? How has the reopening of schools in Peel gone?
Oh, well, I'm very happy with what I have seen in my schools and what I'm hearing, the feedback I'm getting from parents, because I always gauge how parents are feeling as well as staff. And in my schools, I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback, as well as you have parents who are frightened. So as we get cases, you get parents, okay, they want to switch and pull their kids out from in school to online. So, we have dealing with quite of that.
I've heard a couple teachers say that frankly, this issue that they had in regards to class size has been solved because so many kids are actually choosing to stay home and do virtual learning.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah. And I think the plan, how it was rolled out, was so well executed. So even how the kids are going to the bathroom, how they are doing recess, how the flow of the movement of the kids, it's so well orchestrated that I think now that people are actually seeing it in action, it's sort of relieved a lot of the anxieties that a lot of people had.
Right.
So yeah.
Are you surprised how many people are choosing to stay home and take virtual learning?
I wouldn't say I was surprised. I really didn't know. It was kind of the first pandemic, that I've been through.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to expect. And people withdraw their kids, or I should say kids aren't in bricks and mortars for a variety of reasons. So you have people with health issues.
Yeah.
They have people at home with health issues, so that's why they don't come in. You have people who think that the kids were thriving better online because they felt the environment was so toxic for their kids,
right? Which
is, a downside of
toxic
why?
Because of COVID-19 or because of other reasons?
Because of other reasons.
Okay.
Right. So and racism being a lot of one of them. Some kids who appeared to be disengaged in their learning when they were in the bricks and mortar schools were attending regularly. They were handing in their work.
That's interesting, because one of the big arguments that the teachers' unions were making during the last 2 years worth of negotiations was that the virtual online learning wasn't working. And you're saying that for some people that either were encountering racism or were a toxic environment or whatever, actually liked the virtual learning.
Yep. So I'm getting feedback from a lot of parents that, it works for them and they love it. So, and they can at the moment because their work situation allows them to be at home.
Yep.
So they're at home. Some of the kids are old enough that they can do the online at home, like kids in high school. So, it's... it's
interesting, and I'm not an expert on this, but I used to do a fair amount of consulting in the private educational space, some in the United States. And it is interesting that the statistics in the States, which has had, particularly with private education, a lot more experience with this than we do, they found that the people that were, the universities, this was primarily post-secondary, but it was also secondary, that were all online weren't that successful. Mm-hmm. The ones that were somewhat online and somewhat bricks and mortar were actually incredibly successful and were far more conducive to a lot of people's lives than the ones that were all brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. Because people had health problems, because they were traveling, because they were busy, because of whatever else. And so some of these schools that offered you to come once in a while, so you got the interaction, you got the connection with your classmates, you got the connection with the person at the front of the room, but then also gave you the opportunity to learn online, ended up being more successful on average than either of the other two alternatives.
Yeah, and I wouldn't find that surprising, because I think it would fit into almost with when you have sort of a choice, you basically can almost accommodate everyone.
Yep.
Right? So I think that, no, I think it's going pretty well. And considering too that in the case of Peel, our supervisor was relatively new, our director of education, was thrown into an ant's nest, and, I think she did a remarkable job.
Thrown into an ant's nest. Why do you say that?
Well, it was a very chaotic and interesting time in our board. So I think...
so this was because of the implementation of the superintendent from the province?
Because of I guess the board was under review and then taken over.
Yep.
So I think that had to do.
They put in a supervisor from the province, but also a new director of education?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so 2 new people were leading the charge.
Yep.
And I think they did a fantastic job. And I think, and whilst trying to open a school, and it wasn't like they put the directives on the back burner, because again, racism and discrimination is important. Yep. And it can't be shoved aside, right? So it had to be dealt with whilst trying to implement, opening a school during a pandemic, which was like unprecedented.
So I understand there have been some infections in some schools already. What do you think is going to happen? Do those people go home? Do the class go home? Does the whole school go home? What happens?
No, it is my understanding that the school will not be closed unless it determines that there's an outbreak.
Right.
So even if, say, 3 people turned up at a school, doesn't necessarily mean it's an outbreak.
Right.
Because you could have 3 people who got COVID from 3 totally different circumstances, and they came to school that day. That does not constitute an outbreak. But if you had 3 people that contracted COVID within our schools, then they may deem that as right. So they may deem.
So Israel's kind of interesting. Israel, opened up their schools back in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Infection rates increased fairly dramatically, and they closed down the whole economy last week. Complete closure. Yeah. Do you think we risk that?
No, because I think Israel was different because it was in the middle of a heat wave, for example, and they also had air conditioning use. Everything was closed, and you sort of just recycling that air. So if somebody had an infection, that air was basically being recycled in the building, is my understanding when they look at the analysis of what happened in Israel. So I think Canada, we've been very proactive.
So because of the heat wave, there's more air conditioning and more recycled air, and so therefore if there is a virus, it gets recycled.
Right.
That's interesting.
And it wasn't... And
so we should just open our windows and get the breeze coming in.
Yeah, a lot of schools have been doing that are cracking windows and also upgrading the filtration system, changing the filters more often. So I think you see it. And also, the kids weren't masked in the school, because what happened, they suspended the rule, is my understanding, about wearing masks because it was so hot. Yep. So, but in our buildings, the kids still have to wear masks.
Do you think kids are going to, honor that? Are they going to stay keeping their masks on?
I think it depends on the age of the kids. Yep. I personally can't see a kindergarten kid keeping their mask on all day.
I've had kids. I can't imagine them keeping on their masks for half an hour, 5 minutes, frankly.
But, and also I think kids, the kids of today, they never cease to amaze me. Yep. And I think we have so much to learn from the kids of today. And they're pretty resilient. So I think they can handle the masking better than we think, but I don't think the young in the junior ages.
The unions have been fighting the provincial guidelines, the provincial policies so vehemently. Are the teachers being supportive of what the board's trying to put in place?
Well, in my experience, the teachers that I have spoken to were happy with, in the schools that I've visited, were quite happy with what they saw in their buildings. They, so in my experience, I haven't had any of the teachers in my schools raise a complaint or issue to me about a concern. Right. So, but I see on Twitter you have, and that's not to say that every single teacher in Peel is happy, but I can say I think the majority are. Yep. Right. And in the schools that I've visited.
So what do you think is going to happen in the next couple of months? Do you think we're going to get through this, or do you think we're going to have school closures and lockdowns again? What's your prediction?
It's hard to predict because you're dealing with human personalities. So it's really, and I think that's why, people criticize and say, oh, everything was so rushed. but we can't predict what human beings are going to do.
Yeah.
So if people follow the guidelines and the rules, and the key is, I believe in just social distancing, cut down on, you know, a lot of these home parties, because we look at where a lot of the outbreaks are, that these social gatherings with lots of people breathing. And I think if people just follow the guidelines that we will. And you look at, for example, what's happening.
But people are social creatures. We need to interact. We need to meet other people. And you know, a lot of those happenings over the course of the last couple of months, because it's been nice weather, have been outside. But as it gets cold, they're going to be inside, and by definition, there's going to be more exposures. They're not.
But I think, yes, but I think also though, the quicker we beat, you know, and reduce the numbers, I think the quicker we can get back to being our social, you know, regulars. And I'm a very gregarious person, so I understand the need, you know, to hug and be around people. And
but you're not hugging now.
No, elbow it.
Elbow.
Elbow. Yeah.
We're chatting with Kathy MacDonald, a trustee on the Peel District School Board right now. She's a trustee, and we're going to take a break. We've been talking about COVID-19 and the reopening of the schools in Peel, and we're going to take a break and come back and we're going to talk about racism, because the other big issue that Peel has been facing is that the province actually, I don't know, dismissed, not the right word, but took over the Board of Trustees and brought in a supervisor because they said the board was racist. And so I want to come back and talk to Kathy about that after the break. Stay with us.
Are you looking for a different type of realtor? Meet Sohail Khan, broker owner of Century 21 Innovative Realty Inc. You don't need to know a lot about real estate, but you do need to know Sohail Khan, who knows a whole lot about real estate. He knows contracts, negotiations, research, he knows the market, and he really knows the area. When it comes to real estate buying or selling, Sohail Khan is a know-it-all. Get to know Sohail Khan. 416-822-0305 or at sohailkhan.ca. Experience excellence.
वाजिद मलिक पेश करते हैं एक और शानदार प्रोजेक्ट इन द हार्ट ऑफ टोरंटो, वेस्टर्न विलेज. Beautiful brand new homes with 2 bedrooms, 2 washrooms, minutes away from 401 York University and Yorkdale Mall. Exclusive brand new stainless steel home appliances included. Prices starting from only $719,900. Don't miss this wonderful opportunity. Call now 416-827-3333 or visit www.wajidmalik.com.
टीम फरहान मॉर्गेज सॉल्यूशंस आपकी खिदमत में पेश 15 साल तजर्बे के हामिल, आपकी जरूरियात और मर्जी के एन मुताबिक कारोबारी, रिहायशी, तामीराती और ज़रूरी मॉर्गेज सर्विसेज. हमारा कम तरीन मॉर्गेज रेट. Team Farhan.
At Team Farhan, we're here for all your mortgage needs.
مشتريlerimize iyi ve kaliteli hizmet vermeye özen gösteriyoruz.
ونوفر كل التسهيلات القروض المالية لكل أنواع القروض.
Here at Team Farhan, we have mortgage solutions designed for you.
Team Farhan को एक दफा खिदमत का ज़रूर मौका दीजिएगा. And this is my personal promise to you, you will not be disappointed.
At Team Farhan, we have a mortgage solution designed for you.
मज़ीद मालूमात के लिए 416-569-9294 या फिर विजिट कीजिए हमारी वेबसाइट www.teamfarhan.com.
Welcome to Soho's Fashion Studio, a wonderland of designer and bridal couture, where our in-house designers will design your dream dress and our fashion houses in Pakistan will create it. Find casual to luxury fabrics under one roof. Quality is our #1 priority. We are open Tuesday to Sunday, 12:30 to 7:30. Shipping internationally and within Canada is also available. Visit us at 2275 Britannia Road West, Mississauga, Unit 15. Or call us at 647-967-0351.
एयरविंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स नॉर्थ अमेरिका की सबसे बाएतमाद और फास्टेस्ट एयर ट्रैवल सर्विसेज. 25 साल का तजर्बा लिए लातादाद अफोर्डेबल ट्रैवल डील्स के साथ एक्सेलेंस इन कस्टमर सर्विसेज ऑन जस्ट 1 फोन कॉल. ये है एयरविंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स. फॉर बुकिंग कॉल नाउ 1855-247-9464 or 905-272-2300. एयरविंग्स ट्रैवल एंड टूर्स.
If you are looking for a dedicated and honest real estate agent, then meet Wasif Khan, servicing the community for years in resale and pre-construction projects. Sell your property in top dollars with TV, radio, social media, and MLS marketing. We also help with mortgages.
For all your real estate needs, contact me at 647-786-8765 or visit wasifkhan.ca.
Consumer Choice Award recipients and GTA's top-ranked service provider, Dixie Electronics, authorized dealer of all major companies. Shop with a peace of mind, and low prices are always guaranteed.
I promise best customer service and lowest prices in GTA because we beat prices from all major stores and small stores. At Dixie Electronics, our motto is we sell quality and deliver confidence.
Dixie Electronics and Appliances, 5120 Dixie Road, Unit 11, Mississauga. Phone number 905-625-5900.
Life is precious, and health is the greatest gift. The best investment you can ever make is in your own health and life. Take steps now for your health and life concerns, which includes drug and dental insurance, travel insurance, critical illness, disability income insurance, and super visa insurance. We also provide life insurance, RESP, RRSP, and segregated funds.
To make the informed decision, contact Babar Chuktai, your health benefit advisor at 416-816-9210. It's 416-816-9210.
Was your family or business prepared for this financial crisis? Want to learn how I prepare my clients with the essential financial planning pyramid for any financial crisis come their way? Hello, this is Zahid Sayed from Rouge Financial. For your complimentary Zoom or Skype meeting, call my office at 905-624-0008 or visit aroujefinancial.com.
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
If you are looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable travel agency in your town, then your search is over. Global Travel and Tours is your personal travel partner. Our dedicated staff at Mississauga, Jeddah, and Islamabad is always ready to make your trip hassle-free, memorable, and cost-effective. We will assist you with hotel reservations, the transportation, visa assistance, and travel insurance. We are the #1 pilgrimage specialist for Hajj, Umrah, as well as ziyarat to Iran and Iraq. Global Travel and Tours is a one-stop solution for your travel, immigration, and Forex needs. We are IATA approved agents and an authorized Umrah agent. To book your holiday or Umrah package, please give us a call right now at 1-877-275-3555. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on the Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on the Brian Crombie Show on CanadaOne TV. Hi, welcome back to the Brian Crombie Show on CanadaOne TV. We're chatting tonight with Kathy MacDonald, who is a trustee on the Peel District School Board. She's a trustee from Brampton, wards what?
3 and 4.
Wards 3 and 4 in Brampton. And we've just had a really good conversation about the reopening of the schools, but the other issue that Peel has been facing is racism. And what happened? So the province deemed that the board was racist and said, we don't trust the trustees to make decisions anymore, and brought in a superintendent or something?
Kind of the cold notes version. It wasn't more so that they said we were racist, is that we needed help with our governance, and there were too many experiences of anti-black racism, of discrimination, Islamophobia that were happening at the board.
At the board level?
At the board level. And
now, you're on the board. I know there's a Muslim on the board. How can, when you're there on the board, there be anti-black racism or black racism, not anti-black racism, there's black racism and Islamophobia.
So basically, as an individual, I have no power. So we have to vote on all our policies, right? So if there are policies or concerns that are raised and other colleagues don't think it's relevant or of high importance and don't support it, then it doesn't matter that you have actually two black trustees there, right? Or then there's one Muslim trustee there.
Out of how many trustees?
12. It's a board of 12
so
trustees.
3 are non-white. Are there more that are non-white?
Oh yes, there are 5. Well, you see, people, I'm not sure how, because when it comes to labeling people, because I understand from the review, there are 6 racialized trustees. They didn't list who are the 6 racialized trustees, but...
so 50% of the board are deemed to be racialized, and yet you still were racist in your decision-making.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Basically.
Because everyone says one of the solutions to racism is to have a greater proportion of every level of every organization or administration that are racialized or a female or whatever, and you're going to get rid of that discrimination, and that's not your case.
No, I tell you, that's one of the biggest misconceptions out of there.
Really?
Because even a black person can be anti-black. You could be so colonialized.
How can a black person be anti-black?
Because they don't love themselves. So they've been taught not to love themselves. They don't love their skin color. They don't like their hair. They don't love themselves. So sometimes they will perpetuate and support white supremacist actions. And you see, when people say the word white supremacist, they think of a person in that stereotypical white gown with a hood.
Yeah.
And anybody can be, white supremacy does not refer to a person's skin color. It is referring to the actions, right? It's referring to things that are disadvantaging one group of people over another group of people.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a difference between white supremacy and white privilege?
Yes, there is.
What's the difference?
So white privilege is simply by virtue of the color of the skin,
right.
You can enjoy certain privileges, right? So two people might go into a store, right? And the white person may never have the clerk, for example, follow them around the store, right? Simply because they are white. But a black person comes into the store and they get followed around simply because of the color of their skin. So that's a privilege you have just because you have a white skin.
Right.
It could be getting into places, being picked for teams, or you may have one, even in minorities, you have privileges too. So you can have minority groups that are not black that uphold white supremacy values.
So how did this board become racist, and how did the administration of Peel Board of Education become racist? I would have thought in Peel, of all the places in the world where we've got 57% of the people in Peel have lived in Canada for less than 10 years, that we would be more inclusive than almost anywhere else in the world.
You see, the thing is, I don't know if it's the board becoming racist as opposed to systemic racism, because you have, so probably individually, if you take, you look at trustees, you probably would say not every trustee is a racist. But when you have decisions and systems in place that uphold discriminative policies, right? So for example, if you have, look at giftedness, for example. When I was a trustee, I put forward a motion on poverty, and I looked at what's happening to kids in poverty, because I also believe it's part of classism too, because a lot of kids in poverty are left behind. So I asked them to let us see what's happening to our kids in poverty. So we realized, for example, that, so we broke down our population in this report into deciles. The lowest deciles had below, almost like 3 point, I can't remember the exact percentage of kids that were gifted. The highest decile, which had the most Caucasian population, the wealthiest people, a lot from South Mississauga, right, had over 30% gifted kids. So if giftedness is truly giftedness, then
it shouldn't be
it should
by
not
income.
be. Precisely. And it should, and even if it's by income, because you might say, okay, you might have, you know,
some genetic benefits or something
right,
like that.
Or access to early childhood care, better care, that type of thing. But it shouldn't be such a disparity.
Yeah.
If giftedness, so I'm saying, okay, how do we address it?
So are you saying that teachers are assessing intelligence and giftedness based on the income of the kid's family?
No, I don't think it's based on the income of the kid's family. I think that they're not assessing them based on their parents' income, but I think they're using their biases to determine which kids they're labeling as gifted kids. Because I have gone around into some low-income schools and I see lots of gifted kids that haven't been identified. For example, even from my own personal experience, 3 of my 4 children so far, my youngest one hasn't gone through the CCAT yet, have been deemed gifted. And I remember my second son was told he couldn't be gifted because he talks too much, right? And to me, that's a statement made by an ignorant person, because the reason that somebody probably talks too much is because they're disengaged in your class. So for that teacher to make that statement, it would suggest they don't understand what giftedness is.
Right.
So I think there's an understanding of what actual giftedness is, looking at your biases to perceive that, yes, black children, especially black boys, can be gifted, right? So I think that we have to look at, you know, the entire picture and how do we uphold for years, because you have almost 400, a little under 400 gifted spots in Mississauga. We have 26 in Brampton. How is that?
Sorry, there's 400 gifted
almost,
spots
a little,
in
not
all
quite.
of Peel, and only 26 of them are in Brampton?
No. A little under 400 in Mississauga, and only 26 in Brampton, right? At the secondary level. At
the secondary level.
And then I can't remember what
everyone knows Mississauga people are smarter than Brampton people. Come on, for sure.
That also is a big misconception.
Okay. Let's talk about what the solutions are. How do we solve systematic racism within the Peel Board of Education?
So I think the key solution is having policies in place that hold people accountable. We will never change. I shouldn't say we'll never change. It's important to, I guess, attempt to change hearts and mind. But more importantly than changing hearts and mind, I think we have to hold people accountable. So irregardless of how you feel about me because of the color of my skin, if you call me a savage or you call me the N-word, then Peel should not be a safe haven for you. If you think because I am black, I'm not worthy of an education, then you should not be teaching in our board. And we have evidence of this. I personally have been told that, for example, black kids are savages, right? So if you have, and this is by higher uppers, right? I won't say who for liability reasons, but if you have people with that mentality, you can't teach a savage chemistry, right? So people like that, we need to get out of our system.
Right.
Peel should not be a safe haven for them. When a teacher can announce that a kid is dumb because they're black, he should not be working with
accountability.
Accountability.
What number 2?
I think number 1 and 2 is accountability.
Okay.
And
is
I
there
think
number 3?
Number 3 is our policies. We have to make sure. So again, if you looked at the review, the review spoke about things like kids, 83% of black kids were suspended for othering. So teachers would just say, check the othering box. So the Ministry of Education has outlined prescribed reasons why you can expel a kid. So if a kid turns up to school with a gun, you can suspend him for that.
Okay, so accountability and policies?
Policies. And the policies must be followed.
Okay.
And they have to be clear policies. So it can't be just a blanket.
I can't believe we don't have anti-racism policies.
Nope. And we actually, when I put that on the motion, I was asked, why did I did that? We were supposed to have had a policy, I believe I was told in 1993. It was ordered by the ministry. So the other thing I think needs to be done too is that the Ministry of Education needs to have almost a better oversight on what's going on within boards to make sure, like, if the ministry says a board is to do something, they need at their end too to say, okay, in fact,
well,
yes.
I actually think it's probably good that they stepped in with their supervisor this past spring. I think that's really positive.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're going to have to cut this off, but we got a lot more to talk about. We're going to have you back.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, Brian, you call me back.
That's the Brian Crombie Show for tonight with Kathy MacDonald, who is a trustee on the Peel School Board of Education. And I think she's right that we need to have these anti-discriminatory policies. I think we need to have accountability. But she said we don't need to have the heart and mind doors. That's not the only solution. I do think that that's the solution. And I guess I think that the thing that I am most comforted by and most encouraged by, I think is the right word, is in the protests that occurred during the spring of this past year, there were as many white people, particularly of a younger generation, out in those protests as there were black people. And I think, therefore, for my kids' generation, people have become colorblind. And my kids, in their friend group, there are different races, there are different religions, there's different people of different sexual orientation. A lot of those things that were really important and differentiating factors in older generations have no longer become factors because they play soccer with these people. They just get to know people because it's just a part of life. And I think that changes people's hearts and minds. And so I'm really encouraged. And I think that the systematic racism is going to go away, probably not as quickly as we wanted to. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. That's our show for tonight. Good night.